In the Mbalu community, there was a man named Omari who did an abnormal thing in the funeral while others sobbed and muttered, "Omari, laugh again." The laughter of laughter is not his, not decline or silence. Or quiet. Listen to a joke that everyone performed without being nervous, as just as happy as it had experienced. The funny joke that everyone does not have. A terrible period of children fleeing. Some sad news, Baba Jango is the wisdom returning. Healed. Others believe. It's crazy. This morning the village woke up, and the gentle man in Amaro died. Everyone loves Baba Jango because he is loved by those who are constantly helped when needed by. Children need food. I have provided them. When neighbors fought, he created peace after his death, leaving the whole village crying, the entire village of planning crying. Everyone began to plan for a big funeral, began with everyone. Prepare to respect him, but deep inside, the villagers are worried about one thing. Will Omari participate in the funeral, and if any? He giggled on the day of the crowd tang, where everyone gathered below one, the large tent close to the village and square. Everyone wears black clothes, and the mourning family is sad. Ob's family is sad throughout the face. On the face, sitting on the side. Before, mourn gently. When the priest woke up to start the celebration, the atmosphere was heavy because of sadness, and no one. Then, as soon as the priest begins, he stood in Inamde, appeared, prayed in the later, wearing his usual crumpled shirt, and dusty polished the slippers of residents. Their breathing is horrified about what can happen. What can happen? Following, while the priest talks about elder. The life of elders, life of Oba Inami, suddenly started giggling. It is not a small laugh, but a laugh, echoing throughout the crowd like thunder. Moaner people widened, eyes with cold eyes. Shock. Oba stood to his feet. Obasan Jabari jumped up, his face flushed with anger. How did he dare to return to him with anger? How dare you giggle at my father's funeral, and shouted at the funeral, and shouted. He shouted. Some of the people whispered, angered. Some asked to chase Omari out, but Omari did not stop. Stop. I laughed louder. He laughed bigger, hugging his stomach as if his stomach couldn't be like that. He couldn't control, making everyone confused. Everyone was confused, and Chick ran angrily to find Many. His legs tightened, his painful pain. What was this? What's up with me? He shouted. Why you laughed when we are bringing the crowd closer, waiting for Ian's response, but Omari only wipe away his tears because of his laughter. Eyes and grinning. I do not march. Your father, he gently added. I giggled for me. His father gently added. I giggled because of me. Seeing what you could not see, the villagers gasped. What do you mean? Pray. Omari shook his head and said he wouldn't understand. There was still a word. He came back and left. He turned and left. Everyone silently followed. Funeral. Residents cannot stop. Discuss events and reasons behind them. Inam can say so strange things. Strange things. 1. People probably know something we need, the woman asks. No one answered. Amdi hid while others believed. He was just crazy, but crazy. I couldn't, but he couldn't ignore to ignore it. He felt ashamed and angry. He mistreated my father. Chi advised me to advise me. Personally, I will find out if he's intend to do it. Important regardless of what decision starts to ask. Investigate about N past to find ways to search. Expose the reality behind him, the abnormalities. Laughing before Chick can know a lot. The event once again shook the village. A young man. The woman named Amaka is famous for her friendliness, and the beauty has gone among farmers. The hearts were devastated and filled. The mother of the great grief, Amaka, announced, crying loudly, declared. Cried loudly and said that the death of her daughter was not like a unlike one. The story of bad Playlon accident increases. The funeral has been scheduled quickly. The next day, and local people silently worried Inamd will come, but they ask. And if he comes, he will laugh. Everyone is tense when they gather to attend the funeral of Amaka funeral. The family's family is cloudy in the sky. The first row of the priest is crying ahead, saying a sudden prayer repeated as before. Omari appears. He stood behind. serene face and can't read for a short time. The hat feels like it feels like. No say anything but like a priest. Holding Omari started laughing again. His laughter laughed loudly and caused discomfort. Create a clear sound in space. Amaka's mother. Shouting, "Why you mock me?" The death of the daughter of the audience turned around. I turned to the crowd towards Omari, angry and confused, but this time he did not stop. Omari stopped. Giggle and look at Amaka's mother. With a solemn expression, I did not laugh. His brother said I giggled because his friend's daughter said I giggled because the truth is approaching. The crowd gasped and everyone starts to whisper what the truth is. Someone shouted to stop talking puzzles. Another cried, but Omari did not answer. Instead, in it, he turned away and left. Make everyone even more confused. When Chick always watched his eyes. About his wrath. He is growing strongly and knows something. Chick. Given that I will ask him to inform me. The decision he chose to face Omari. Once. That night Chi followed Omari, his small H on the village. The sun is converting and the air. The sun was in the sun and the air was cold and peaceful. Omari sat down. Omari, sitting outside was staring at the sky when the chalk. Come, tell me what you intend to do. Tell me what you are going to do, Chie. What truth do you want to mention? Are you mentioning? Around Inam on this side and check at Chie and check at Chie. The dead are not rested until their narratives are completed. After finishing their story, he sighed and said, Chi. The stories he sought in his face. Father and Amaka are. The truth will not exist. Suggestions, my father. The voice trembled with both. Omari nodded seriously, angry and scared. Serious, angry and horrified. The dead speak of the chalk. I heard their calls. The souls of Baba Jango and Amaka, elder Baba Jango and Amaka spirits are bored. Interrupt and love requirements. Justice. Chick shook his head. This is crazy. He hopes I think you can. Hearing the dead on this side, you don't. Must believe me. The truth will. Self-revealing. Please pay close attention. And he will also study as well as said, Ch. Trembling back to the village and not returning to the village in a trembling condition, and the village shook and, not sure if I do it to do it, I don't tell anyone. He did not tell anyone about his interaction with Omari, but he can't stop thinking about it. Every people keep it as well as discuss this abnormal behavior. Why did he giggle and use puzzles when talking? They asked him and he said the gods, some people think he is capable, can see through the living if he understands the thing. Really, he had to communicate. An elder commented. Omari's pressure increased, but he still stayed. He is still the same. The pressure on Omari is increasing. Silence and silence cannot be missed. Look at him. Of NCH chose to learn about the last days of searching questions related to him. Father also observed something else? Me. Is there anyone else observing? Something strange before his death. Ask Obi's close friends, one of them, and Ob's body, one of them. One of them was not himself when he answered that his father was Okoro last week. He claimed he grumbled about the sourness in cheese food. His heart beats hard. He always thought that his father had died of old age. Now the questions began to appear. It is not like answering your father in his last week, Okoro complained. About the sourness in his food. Heart of strong dam, he always thinks his father died in old age. Now questions begin to arise. To develop in his consciousness could be Inami. Talking the truth, he asked Ch questions. Chris's harassed Ataku, a drug producer for Baba Jango. Has my father visited him? Before her death, she asked her Ataku. Nodding, surely, he complained that I gave him her medicine to help relieve stomach pain. But I feel something wrong. The research, she moved to him towards the village. Harassed Ataku, medicine, for Baba Jango. Has my father visited you yet? Did you come to visit me? Before her death, she asked her Ataku. Nodding in agreement, then complaining about. I gave him her medicine to help relieve stomach pain. However, I felt that something was wrong. She turned off. What does he mean by him? Ask Ataku to stop feeling like that. She whispered toxic. and her eyes widened. Speaking of toxins, and Chi's eyes widened. Poison him. Ataku nodded gently and sadly. I wish he was cautious, but he was too careful, but he was so cautious. Chi's heart sagged when Chick investigate his father's death, he began. Listen to more rumors about collapse. Amaka's sadness of her best friend informed him about something scary. Amaka informed me that she was fear before her death, said she. Already know information about someone in town, but she did not mention who it was. Did not mention that person's blood cold. What did she discover? He asked AB to shake his head. Not sure. She just mentioned it as dangerous, and she simply mentioned that it was very dangerous and she should talk to the elderly. Cho not have. Given that Amaka's death may not be an accident of an urgent need for a fishing accident. Answer Chick back to the late one. Omari sitting at seated outside Hing evening. With yourself when Chiki appeared. True, Chiki commented. His voice was considered to be considered. My father's death and Amaka's collapse. Discontent. There is more than that about my father. Omari nodded his face. Calmly, I told you that my father should not lie to him. Amaka's death and potential from what I thought. Omari nodded in front of me. Calmly, I told you that Dad did not lie to him. I told my father and then don't lie to him, but now I stated, but now you have to decide. What you will learn the truth or you will. Let it be buried tightly. Must know the truth that he declared trusted. Smile. Please pay close attention, he advises. Omari lowered his voice and leaned back. Tilt forward. The truth you search is dangerous and serious. Is dangerous in a serious sense. Chai, some residents of this village will do to keep their secret. Hidden him said. Fitch frowned. You were saying? Someone in the village killed my father. Chai has good people in this village. He asked Inami, who nodded to act to keep their secret. Hidden, he said. Sage frowned. What did you say? Someone in the village killed my father. And Amaka asked. Inami nodded in agreement, and they will not stop at anything to protect. You must be careful to feel a blend of fear and anger who they are. Ask Inami to shake my head. You can explore, but be ready for what? But be ready for what happens next to you, that you can't sleep that night. From this up to his head, he was at the beginning and heart beats hard with determination. Determination. He decided to continue the excavation. How dangerous is this? The next morning, so dangerous at the beginning of the morning. He gathered his father's old friends in the morning. He gathered his father's elderly people and invite them to contribute anything. They know most of them deny their knowledge of anything strange, but there is one person that Wacha has mentioned. His father argued with someone just before he died, Wacha said ch. Leaning forward, wondering who he was. Ask UCA? Then hesitate before answering. As his uncle, and he finally said his friends and was asked to distribute anything. She understand that most of them are accepting to deny knowing anything strange, but an Ucha individual is mentioned. Your father argued with someone. Even the father argued with someone. Before he died, Wacha commented ch. Leaning forward, not sure who it is. Wacha asked to stop before answering. Is your uncle? And at last he said Cheese. Cheese stomach throbbing after hearing his phrase. My brother is the younger brother of Dadob. Always close to the family. Why? Will you have a dispute with my father? Ask Wayna shrugged. What about what they met in secret, and your father seems sad? Then Sage decided to face mine. If Iena is involved in death, he knows his opinion. I need to know. He thinks that the concept of betrayal of the family has made him. He faces reality. She came to Uncle E's house early. Uncle E. Next. This morning Ain is in. In addition to grinding matches when you come to Uncle Ain, when Chick came to my uncle, he wanted to talk to Uncle Chi's voice, and he wanted to talk to his voice. Evenly, but stress. I look up shocking. What is strong? My guy, him. Chi asked not. Demur. I know you have argued with me. What is about? He stopped before you were worried, he said. What is the death before death? About? Ein's face turned black, and he stopped before moving black, and he stopped first. That doesn't care about you, he. Suddenly, I moved in front of me. In front of me. Do you have any questions? His death was beating into the match with the match. What is his angry face full of things? Do you dare to accuse me of anything like that? Horrific. I had, and he shouted to your father. I love him like my father, I love him like myself. The difference, but I love him is like my brother. Chi refused to back down. If you are back, if you. Nothing to hide. So let me know the truth. He sighed, then said firmly and sat. Come down, my father and my father argued about, and I fought back. When I sell, I will refuse, that is all I will. I denied that all, I would never bother him. There is something strange and uncomfortable, and it is not sure that CH has returned to Omari. Visit my uncle, but he rejected it, All the ones mentioned, Omari nodded like if he. The truth that he mentioned made CH frown. What did he mean? He meant, he asked while his eyes were apart. Sin until they are forced to face. The truth he mentioned made CH frown. What did he mean? Eyes apart. Seeing CH did not intend to poison. Murder, immediately it slipped in. Time, food of your father one. Do not act alone, Omari said. Whose heart supported them. Collect more suggestions for him to form the truth. Went to the kitchen in father. Father's meals are always prepared and communicated to be made and communicated. Ada housewives, when, in the end she collapsed. Not sure what she said, but she cried a lot. He will visit the house quite often and cook lunch for his father, saying it was a family. Father reported that it was a family. Father. His head believed she realized him. Ada, he believed that she realized he could not solve his puzzle by herself. He alone. He need help from someone who knows. The secret of the village's secret is passed down to the elderly. Storytelling, old kitchen village. The mother has observed a lot of her. Murder a lot in the life of support. Speak. Mother and mother need her help. Sitting next to her on her veranda, she listened calmly when he, jealous of her father's prosperity, if he likes everything. After he finished speaking, she nodded slowly. I heard my whisper. Her son said, my uncle always. Your father's prosperity, if he must be cautious. Say he is smart and dangerous. For Mama in Keichiki has gained knowledge. Suddenly Amaka was near. Your parents in declaring that she often helps him. Support him. With his petty and listening. The heart of the secret. Do you think of his core of the secret? Do you think to protect my father? He speaks, his voice heavy. Sin. I will not leave her. Death is useless, nourished by new data. Chi told Ain for the second time. I was not afraid of the truth, he asked. Her uncle can clarify. Cut her hands, and then Amaka died because she tried. Protecting his father, he said. Let her. Useless provides new data. This second time. The moment he could not keep the face of the face. I knew you. Poisoning my father's father, he shouted, knowing. Shouting, I knew Amaka knew about the ST pill on KS face. And he stammered, with your corn. You don't have the proof of the expenditure. Closer and I will find evidence, even though I have to dig up all directions. The secret in this village, the village he mentioned. But he mentioned, his expression became tougher. His becomes more serious. Be careful, guys. You don't know who you are. If he charged with anyone who knew he had accused him about Chien, he knew he hit one. I touched my nerves. I am not afraid of the truth, he. The resolute statement when the puppy went down further. The whisper began to spread throughout the town. Some. Given that justice, others think it is a serious problem. Why can't he kill a village and subdue it? Everyone encourages him to think he was once. Feeling because of search of justice, others believe. Stirring mischief, why can't he? The deceit of a villagers was subdued. You have lost my son. Let him be alone before he injured her, but the truth is who he will answer him risk, but he is determined to bring justice to his family on one night. The message falls under his door. Hands and regret. He kept asking questions. If you read. Stop trembling when he grabbed. Threatened the next day he came. Omari and show him the notes there. See the notes there to try to make me afraid to say. Inam nodded. They are afraid of the truth that is exposed. Answer, but you must be strong spirit. Of the dead person who is with you, feel one. The cold running along his spine. I won't stop him. The statement is not today after receiving. The scary noted is that he cannot. Facing this alone, he asked NDI. For the purposes of the mere guidance, I need you. Mr. CH's help said, who killed my father supported CH about the one who killed my father. And Amaka is dangerous. However, I won't come back. Will not back down. Anam nodded. His face was calm and calm. Soothe the truth. It is a weight that weighs. We will bird together, but we will overall. Carrying, he said, starting to share more about the images he experienced. Father and I are Maka's souls, all pointed out. Yours and me are Maka's souls, both of the same Omari who mentioned Chi's heart. Rising, is it really my uncle's question? Request. Before answering yes in at first. Sin, he said, but he did not act alone. Others helped him frown. Confused, I don't know who else will do the same thing. Ask Inam to glance at him. Sad eyes, someone close to his friend. Sad someone is close to his friend. Chick's mind silently rises his family. My mother's little mother and cousin, and I like Housamid are the ones who can fight us like. And can turn back on the hand on your shoulder to find, but guilty will not easily confess, and we say that and put your hand on his shoulder. You have to find out, but walk gently. The sinner will not be easy to export. Currently and danger are approaching the choice. Ada interrogation again, this time he observed. Observing her attentively to find any of Ada's sinful symptoms. You have worked for my family for many years, he start. Have you ever noticed anything strange about how my uncle comes? Visiting Ada seemed tense, avoiding my uncle. My eyes said he likes to cook. Ms. Chi leaned towards her father. She said Chi leaned closer. Have you ever seen him put something in my food? He's food. Press Ada's hand. Trembling, and I'm not sure her. Korn stammering felt his doubt is developing. What are you hiding? In the end, he asked. I shed tears, no intention of collapse. Her uncle cried because everyone had to die. Not allowed. I cut across the kitchen. The chest of Chi's family tightened, so you know that my father's poisoning is poisoned. Nodding and crying, trying to stop the strange thing. He always found a way. I really apologized to Jabari. The blend of wrath and was forced to assist. And Omari has developed a strategy. We will gather the old people to gather and introduce him first and present him in the face of all the people that Alamari proposes. However, we suggested. We'll invite him to my house to have a meal. We'll let him realize everything. And Amaka will lead us. I feel this. This ends now. A ray of hope ended. I invite me to go to dinner the next night. Was wrong. But it's great to see my boy. It is necessary to make him suddenly nod. I let him realize everything. Then expose the truth that he mentioned as usual. Spirit of the Father, let us, I feel this, the fragile hope that this will end. Dinner the next night. Looks kind as if nothing. Look at my boy. CH said. He laughed himself, forced. When they ate, CH, he said, instructing the dialogue about the death of my father. I wondered what happened, he said with a hesitant smile. That was a tragedy, he commented on. Time for you. They ate, CH, he said, instructed. The death of his father. Happened him smile. Harmed him. Do you think anyone can hurt him? Older brother. Asked again, he answered. CH still kept the voice of the truth. Saying, because I understood the truth. Uncle, he poisoned my father and froze him. The face has a white face. What is friends? He muttered about him when he muttered. Get out of the shadows to bring writing. We have evidence from Ada's confession. Handwritten that Ada left us evidence. The accomplice in saying your friend has. Recognized. The room becomes quiet when you. Realizing that I was arrested, not so. Going like this ain't subdue me. Just want to weaken him, not to kill him. The rage of the past was over and Amaka made friends. Kill her too. He wants both of them to be broken. Collapse. His voice was trembling. It was true that I said that. Amaka heard me and Ada were discussing. I bowed. I didn't want this to have a toxic substance. She vowed to visit the elderly, so I have to make her silent. Chik felt a tsunami of anger and loss that you have turned on. My family owns, he greedily shouted at the family. Greedy, he shouted me. I don't want this to bow. He said softly in Andy. Speaking softly, Anandi stepped to the morality of dead saw. Die all the spirit of saw. Things, and today the truth was exposed to him, the truth was exposed. Chi said. Chi tightened his hand. You will meet. Because of what you did, justice said. The village received. Chick chose the village the next day. The next day Chick gathered the elderly and exposed everything. He pushed the ad to confess, and the gathering villagers were very surprised and indignant how he could do this to his brother. An elder asked him not to leave. He will never harm anyone here again, elderly, to go through himself before. The farmers were surprised to gather together and anger because the way you can treat. My brother is an older looking for no. The wise person decided he will be kicked out of the community, and Ada also will have to leave. He will never harm people here one more time. The guild. Elderly, the elder discovered. The tree laughed. Why did you laugh? Has been done. Last rest in. Chi nodded calmly, feeling the burden. Leave. His role. I could not do that without his brother, he said. Inam shook his head. The truth is always there, right here. Must visit this place for the first time. Kai knew why Namdi laughed, not from mania, but because of relief when the truth of winning Ain and Adon. The village starts slowly healing people. Stop whispering about Omari and appreciate him. He is unusual. But an elder affirmed that Chick was right. Focus on restoring the status of his family and respect his father's legacy. Has built a tree to remember elder. Baba Jengo and Amaka vowed to maintain them. The story is still lively among the people. Meet each other for the first time in decades. Solidarity for the truth of life, back to peace. Usually, but memories of what was never disappear in the morning. His discovery. The rest without one. Disappeared. Used in Balu he has. The empty space H echoes the weakness of the laughter. The man giggled in the funeral? Lost, but his heritage will live forever. Forever lying in the heart of the heart. I will always. Thank you very much for you. Up to this point, please watch this video. Please watch this video. A thumb head up will help me grow up small. If you don't have YouTube channel, my YouTube channel is still. Make sure you have registered and enabled the post function. Know when. Post for you to receive notifications when I publish a lot of materials like this. Follow my channel if you has not done so. I have more interesting things. Video and topics stimulate thinking and more attractive and topical themes and channels. More attractive on my channel. Comment on the video and let me. Your impression understands your opinion on this video. Goodbye about watching this video. The folk friends in my next video. In my next video, goodbye.